Okay, hi, hello. Welcome back to another long video on my YouTube channel. Before we get started here, I have to tell you, I shot like half of this video, like the narrative framing for the video, several weeks ago in this hotel that I was living in for like a month because I was out of town shooting a movie. And I really liked the shot that I used. It's this windowsill that I sort of framed myself in, and the whole thing was done with natural light where I'm kind of in shadow and the clouds are moving behind me over this rock formation and the natural light is changing throughout the day. I really liked the shot from a creative standpoint, but this microphone that I used, it was a new microphone that I was trying out, and it absolutely ruined the video. Like the sound quality was terrible. And initially I liked the shot so much that I decided to just deal with it. I decided to just put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video and be like, hey, like half of this video has pretty rough sound quality. Sorry about it, just deal with it. And I edited the whole video with that shot because I didn't want to redo it. And then I published it to my Patreon with that sound quality, and I listened to that edit with headphones, and it was a hate crime. Like I just was like, I can't subject people to this sound quality no matter how much I like this shot. And that meant that I had to either scrap the project altogether or redo it. Like I had to reshoot it and rewrite the script because the first time I did it, I sort of did it freestyle. I was sort of improvising, and I was like, I could probably do a better job and actually write a script out. If it's already hard enough as a content creator to remake something you already made, it's especially hard when it's a project that you're not enjoying. And I hate the subject matter for this video. I did not enjoy making this video at all, but by the time I finished that initial edit that is now living on my Patreon, if you want to go watch the alternate edit, it's over there, patreon.com/AustinArcher. Subscriptions start at just $1 a month. By the time I finished doing that, I was well past the point of no return. Like I had put too much time and energy into the project to just scrap it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it again. So I did it again. I made the sound better for you. We're going to keep the original intro because I do want that shot in there. And the original intro has like the least bad audio of any of the sections from the original edit, but it's still not great. So just know that this intro we're about to watch is, the audio is pretty rough. But yeah, here we go. Here's this video.
Hello, Austin. Off chance you see this, I just wanted to say I'm a fan. I like your recent content about the terminally online leftist. Do you think they are being genuine? Do they genuinely believe we will achieve a left-wing utopia through accelerationism? A lot of these creators seem very hopeless and very pessimistic. There is this guy, the woke bloke, who's made a bunch of videos about you. All he does is blame Democrats for literally everything in almost all of his daily posts. I personally think the only progressive future we have in this country is going to come to fruition through the Democratic Party. Dear friends and viewers, subscribers and future subscribers, I miss my life before I got that fateful DM. I miss who I was before I knew about the woke bloke.
Obviously, I was curious after getting that DM, so I went to the Woke Bloke's page to watch his videos about me, and what ensued was a series of back and forths between the bloke and myself over the course of several weeks of my life that I will never get back. Now, we're just going to watch my full video series that I wound up making on him. It's long, but this is YouTube where we're okay with things being a little longer, a little more detailed, a little more in-depth. Watching these videos will be the easiest and clearest way for me to give you the proper context for our discussion today. It was hard enough to make the videos the first time, and I don't want to do it again or try to summarize them, so we're just gonna watch them. I think they're, at the very least, pretty entertaining, so get comfortable and strap in. Here we go. Okay. This is the Woke Bloke. He's a guy who's been making some pretty harsh videos about me. I wasn't even aware that this was happening. I wasn't even aware that this person existed, but then somebody DM'd me yesterday and pointed it out. This is obviously nothing new. People make hate videos about me all the time. Most of the time, I don't even see them, and if I do see them, I don't bother responding, but the Woke Bloke has just a big enough platform, and his videos were just off-putting and smug enough, and they were seen by and liked by just enough people, and I've got just enough time on my hands that I decided to go ahead and do one of the things that I do best and read the ever-loving fuck out of this sentient skin tag. So the Woke Bloke made 2 videos about me that I could find. I didn't want to sift through his page. The content is pretty hard to watch, but in both the videos that I did see, he decides to open each video by making ad hominem attacks about my physical appearance.
There's this guy that looks like he's auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse. So yesterday I made a video about this frumpy little man named Austin Archer. This guy looks like he should be working at medieval times, serving up turkey legs.
So first things first, I do not think that comments about a person's physical appearance are relevant in the slightest in socio-political discourse. If I was trying to have a conversation about what a terrible person Donald Trump is, the fact that I find him physically repulsive to look at couldn't be less relevant. The only things that are relevant to that particular discussion are his actions and his values. The first thing I think whenever someone resorts to attacking my physical appearance on the internet is, oh, this person is not confident in the strength of their own positions. They don't believe they can win in a good faith debate, so they have to resort to lazy, bad faith tactics to score cheap points with the dumbest people in their audience. All that being said, if somebody else starts it, if I am dealing with an interlocutor who is clearly not interested in engaging respectfully and just wants to get nasty and mean, I have no problem with chucking out the rule book and saying, all right, champ, gloves off. If that's how you want to brawl, then let's fucking brawl. It's always some heinous motherfucker who looks exactly like this. My friend, you and I both need to be so fucking for real right now. We are not people who should be going around making derogatory comments about other people's physical appearance. I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm not going to be scoring any modeling contracts anytime soon, but next to you, I look like Pedro goddamn Pascal. But look, buddy, if you are gonna be the bravest little gremlin and go out into the world making jabs about people's looks, you gotta get better at it. I want to get into the substance of your videos. Eventually, we actually have to get to the meat of what we are beefing over. But before we can even do that, I have to take you to roast school and teach you how to properly insult people. So what makes a roast funny is the combination of observations that are both really mean and really accurate. So to recap, your 3 insults were guy who looks like he's auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse, frumpy, and guy who looks like he works at medieval times, right? So the criteria we're looking for, mean and accurate. First of all, Pee-wee's Playhouse is a masterpiece of children's entertainment, and Paul Rubens, sir, is a cultural and comedic icon. So not only is it not mean to say I look like I'm auditioning to be on Pee-wee's Playhouse, also it's not accurate. Have you ever actually watched that show? Whomst from the amazing cast of Pee-wee's Playhouse do you think I look like? Cowboy Curtis? Miss Yvonne? The king of cartoons? Jambi? Flory? Maybe you could say I look like Randy, but if we're being honest, I think you've got me beat here. And then your other 2, frumpy and medieval times. I think when you say frumpy, you're referring to the fact that my clothes tend to be a little oversized. Here's the thing, I'm probably better dressed than you. In fact, I'm definitely better dressed than you. You just lack the requisite fashion sense to know that, so we're just gonna chalk that one up to ignorance. But then the medieval times thing. We go to mean and accurate. You're being mean there, but not to me. You're being mean to people who work at medieval times for no reason. Why are the good people who work at medieval times times catching strays in your insult about me? And is it even accurate? Do I actually look like a person who works at Medieval Times? I don't think so. You know what? This is gonna go a lot faster if I just show you how it's done. You look like Louis C.K. when he was younger, before he had facial hair, and he looked somehow even more like an obvious sex offender. So that works because it's mean, but also, goddamn, is that accurate? Am I good or am I good? Are those not two of the most identical ginger motherfuckers you've ever seen, or what? But let's keep going. You look like you would get a bad sunburn if I took a photo of you with the flash on. You look like your forehead and your nose are in a fierce competition for worst facial feature in the human species. You look like if someone glued pubes to the tip of their dick and then drew like an ugly face with Sharpie on the tip of their dick. You look like a cock, is what I'm saying. You look like the frail, invalid offspring of the Victorian aristocracy. Like, your name would have been Duke Nigel Rothbottom. Both of your parents were siblings, their parents were siblings. You were infirm from the moment of your birth, and you never gained continence as you matured into adulthood. You look inbred, dude. Just generations upon generations of the same family's genes swimming around in there. And look, just to be fair and to show you that there's no hard feelings, I'll even demonstrate how you could have roasted me better. This guy looks like Weird Al Yankovic's uglier, fatter, way less talented, way less successful brother. Like Doug Yankovic. Just fucking Doug. This guy looks like the alcoholic dad at Disneyland who ruins the family vacation, not because he gets too drunk, but because he chokes on his fourth corn dog and has to be taken out of the park on a stretcher. This guy looks like Steve Buscemi from the 30 Rock How Do You Do Fellow Kids meme. Everything about the way that he's dressed says that he wants people to think he's maybe 25, but everything about his face says that he's absolutely 47, even though he's only 38. But enough of this juvenile horsing around. I'm ugly, you're much, much uglier. Who cares? You're actually making some really terrible arguments in your videos, and I would love to rip those to shreds, but we are sort of out of time, so I'm gonna have to do that on a part 2, but we're off to such a fun start, right? Hello, welcome to part 2 of my video about the woke bloke. In part 1, I responded to the woke bloke's lazy ad hominem attacks about my physical appearance. In part 2, which is what this is, we're actually gonna get into the substance of our disagreement. We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty and find out if I actually have what it takes to hang with the woke bloke. We're gonna set aside the petty mudslinging and insults. We're gonna do like Donny Osmond in Mulan and get down to business.
And so many people reached out to me to explain how mean and nasty he has been to them personally, which is deranged. And it's so surprising.
So just to bring you up to speed, the woke bloke, a stranger from the internet who I've never met, never spoken to, who has clearly only ever seen one video from me. It's very clear from his response videos that he's never actually seen any of my other content. He decided to make a hate video about me wherein he engaged in all manner of ad hominem personal attacks about me. He engaged in all manner of libelous, slanderous, defamatory character assassination. He makes claims about me that are really bad, that are not true, and he doesn't back those claims up with any evidence whatsoever. His comments section erupts into an Austin Archer hate frenzy. Everyone in his comments is telling him how much they hate me. They're calling me a liberal cuck shill, all of the typical things that terminally online white leftist protest voters call me. And then in his follow-up video, he says, a lot of people in my audience told me that this Austin Archer guy is actually kind of mean. This stranger who has never spoken to me, who is actively hosting a hate party about me on his channel despite knowing nothing about me, is calling my behavior deranged and surprising. And these are the kinds of examples that the people in his audience were giving him of me being mean and deranged and surprising. I'm gonna have to translate this into the more honest version of what this person is saying because these people are by and large fundamentally incapable of engaging in good faith. But this person says, when I baselessly accused Austin Archer of being a shill, he blocked me instantly. And I had that wake up moment of, oh shit, he's an asshole. He's an asshole. Not this guy. Not the guy who's just going around baselessly accusing people of shilling with no evidence. He's an asshole for blocking me. I swear to God, they are the least serious people in existence. They are somehow less serious than MAGA Republicans. This is that same dude in the exact same comment section just randomly pontificating on when he imagines I started taking blood money to run cover for genocide. I want to say that it happened around December. You wanna say that's when you think that started? That's interesting because I really wanna say, eat a bag of shit. Get fucked. You're a bunch of weird liars telling weird, baseless lies. Why are you like that? Why are you incapable of advocating for your positions in an honest way? Why are your rhetorical argumentative tactics so goddamn indistinguishable from the tactics of the MAGA cult? You see, woke bloke, I am mean to people who are mean to me. I am rude to rude people. I am disrespectful to disrespectful people. And that shouldn't be surprising. That should be normal and expected. Why should I be kind and respectful to a gang of babbling cretins who have spent the last 2 years baselessly lying about me because they know they aren't capable of forming honest arguments that are stronger than mine? Case in point.
Just curious, what do people think? Do we think that Austin really believes that A, Kamala lost because Trump cheated? B, Kamala lost because leftists didn't vote for her? Or C, Austin lies to his audience for attention because he's a grifty little bitch? I'm gonna answer that for the class. It's C. All of these people are freaks. They're getting paid.
Again, I can't stress this enough. This man and I don't know each other. I don't think he knew who I was like a few days before he made these videos. And then people in his audience were like, oh, Austin's a paid shill. And he just ran with it. He just went, yup, that's the truth of who Austin Archer is. And I'm just going to say it as though it is just an established fact. So I'm going to explain to you how the world works because you appear to have a simple toddler brain. Every single socio-political commentator on the internet who does it full time as their job is getting paid. That's how a job works. I have bills to pay. Food cost money, gas cost money, healthcare cost money, apartment cost money. I can't pay for those things if my full-time occupation doesn't bring in revenue. Now hang on to something because I'm about to blow all 12 of the hairs on your deformed little head back when I tell you this next part. But Hassan Piker gets paid orders of magnitude more than I get paid. Hassan is so much more wealthy than I am. I'm even going to go ahead and give you a rough breakdown of where my money comes from as a content creator. Not that it's any of your business because it's super fucking not, but just in the interest of transparency and for the sake of showing everybody what a goofy little clown you are. So the first thing that you should know is that I live in a 1-bedroom apartment that's slightly bigger than this hotel room that I'm currently in. My yearly income fluctuates because I work freelance, but on average, I make a little bit more than the average teacher's salary in the United States of America. In other words, I'm not a wealthy person, I'm not rich, but I'm doing fine. The number one biggest revenue stream I have is my Patreon community, which means that there is nobody I am more monetarily beholden to than the people in my audience. Next up is just money that I get from views from the various platforms. You know, videos perform well on a month-to-month basis, you get a little kickback. After that, way way down in deep third place is sponsored posts. I used to do a lot more sponsored posts, but they all dried up in like 2021, 2022. In my time as a full-time professional content creator, I've made thousands of videos. I make hundreds of videos a year. Many of them are political in nature. And in that time, I've probably made a grand total of like 6 videos that were partnerships with political organizations that wanted to sponsor a video about a cause I was already advocating for free on my channels. So like all great lies, the lie that you all tell about me is based in a tiny kernel of truth. Is it true that Madeline Pendleton found my name on the rolls of people who have partnered with Vocal Media before? Yup. I've done a few videos with Vocal Media, but what you all have spun that kernel of truth into is this lie that all of my channels on all of the social media platforms are entirely bought and paid for by Israel so that I can run cover for their genocide. You're out here saying that they're paying me tens of thousands of dollars a month. They're buying me houses. They got me driving around town in Lambos and Ferraris. Not only have I never taken money to run cover for Israel, go find the video of me doing that if you keep asserting that that's true. I have been overtly anti-genocide on all of my platforms the entire time. The only time where taking money for political advocacy and messaging is an ethical problem is if someone is paying you to say something that you would not otherwise say for free. If the integrity of your platform and your message is compromised by the people you're partnering with, then you have an ethical dilemma. I did not advocate for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election because I was paid to. I would have advocated for her regardless of what job I have. The vast majority of the work that I did was unpaid, volunteer labor because I have a working brain and I understood the stakes of that election. Every time I partner with a political organization for a video, which again is not often, I stipulate in my contract what I will and won't say, and I make sure that I have full creative control over the script and the final edit. And I only partner with people on videos for topics that I already know about and already agree with, and that I was already probably going to cover anyway for free. But you obviously don't know any of the details of any of the contracts that I've had over the years, and that's because, as I said earlier, it's absolutely none of your goddamn business. But you should have the awareness that anyone who is doing this full-time as their job is going to have to figure out ways to get paid to do that job occasionally. And that doesn't mean that that person is evil or untrustworthy or deranged. That just means that that person is someone who exists in a capitalistic framework. Speaking of capitalism, we're gonna have to do a part 3. Okay, it's part 3 of Woke Bloke time. I've been responding to this guy, the Woke Bloke, who looks exactly like Stephen Miller. If Stephen Miller was somehow, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, less attractive. When we last left off, I said, speaking of capitalism, so let's just pick it up from there. Speaking of capitalism...
I'm not surprised that this guy doesn't know what leftism is because he also entertained election conspiracy theories. What's ironic is, if he knew what leftism was, he would know why Donald Trump is president. Can somebody tell this guy that he's pro-capitalist? Because I don't think he understands that.
Dear God, so much stupidity in just a 15-second clip. Where to even begin? So you're just kind of making a bunch of random claims and assertions, right? This guy doesn't know what leftism is. This guy is pro-capitalism. This guy doesn't know why Donald Trump is president. If he understood what leftism is, then he would understand why Trump is president, which I don't even know what that is supposed to mean. It just sounds like a nonsense sentence to me. It sounds like if I said, if the woke bloke knew he was wearing yellow socks, he would understand why snails evolved shells. It's just sort of like a bunch of words put together. Also in part 2, we showed that you accused me of being a lying grifter and a shill, which I guess is just like something you're like legally required to say. The problem with your videos, Woke Bloke, and indeed the problem with the entire terminally online white leftist protest voter cabal, is you all love making these definitive claims and assertions about people, but you never feel any responsibility to substantiate those claims in any way whatsoever with any kind of verifiable contextual grounding. Like you say, someone should tell this guy that he's pro-capitalist because I don't think he knows that. You're right. I don't know that. As far as I'm aware, I fucking hate capitalism. If your claim is Austin Archer secretly loves capitalism, he just doesn't know it, then show us where you're getting the information for that claim. Play us the clip, babe. Show us the clip of me talking about how great I think capitalism is. We've already established that you don't actually know anything about me. You saw one video from me and immediately, uncontrollably just vomited a response. But if you actually had ever watched any of my content, you might know that all of my channels have been explicitly, forcefully, unquestionably anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist from the jump. So if you're going to make the claim that I'm actually pro-capitalism, you're gonna need to be able to find the receipts that back that up. If I said someone should tell the woke bloke that he's an arsonist, because I don't think that he knows how much he loves committing arson, I would lose a lot of respect for the people in my audience if they just took that at face value. If they just believed now that you definitely are an arsonist, even though I did nothing to substantiate this really serious claim that I'm making about you. But I want to touch on this election conspiracy theory stuff because we sort of skimmed over this bit from part 2.
I think that Austin really believes that A, Kamala lost because Trump cheated, B, Kamala lost because leftists didn't vote for her, or C, Austin lies to his audience for attention because he's a grifty little bitch? I'm gonna answer that for the class. It's C.
Oh no, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Very presumptuous and insane of you to think you have the authority to answer a multiple choice question that you wrote about the inner workings of my brain and my beliefs when you are A, not me, B, a person who literally knows nothing about me, and C, a fucking moron. The actual answer is D, elements of both A and B, and also like a bunch of other reasons. There are a lot of factors that determine who wins and loses a presidential election in the United States. It never comes down to just one thing. For instance, I think one of the factors that led to Harris losing the election very well could be that the Harris-Walz campaign could have and should have been significantly more vocal about their pro-Palestine stance and significantly more forceful about how they planned on handling Israel. But who knows, that could have wound up hurting them more than it would have helped them. It's just a random hypothetical. We'll never actually know what would have happened if they had done those things. I think it's perfectly reasonable for people to, at the very least, suspect that the official results of the 2024 presidential election may not have been entirely legitimate. I'm not making any specific claims about what I believe specifically took place, nor have I ever made any specific claims. All I'm saying is that it is perfectly reasonable to suspect that a career con artist, a man who has been convicted of 34 counts of felony fraud, a man who has never come by anything honestly in his life, may not have won the most important contest of his life in an altogether straightforward and above-board manner. But I also firmly believe that you and all of your sanctimonious, arrogant, dipshit friends doing everything you could to actively sabotage the Harris campaign 100% helped to enable and secure a Trump victory. And those two concepts are not at odds with each other. You just have a bad brain that's incapable of complex thought.
You can tell how dumb he is because he does all this weird math between 2020 and 2024, and his big grand conclusion is that if more people would have voted for Kamala, she would have won.
Yeah, you fucking idiot. Bigger number than other person's number. Good thing for election. This is how we definitely know that you're not acting in good faith. If I'm going to be generous here, I'm going to say that you're not actually as stupid as you're pretending to be, and you are, in fact, just lying to your audience. The full context of that clip that you're referencing with the weird word math is me being utterly exacerbated and exhausted and frustrated that I even have to explain it yet again. I am explaining the very straightforward and simple factual math that there was a 6 million voter drop-off for the Democratic Party between 2020 and 2024. Joe Biden got 81 million votes in 2020. Kamala Harris got 75 million in 2024. You're acting as though I think I'm some math god, that I'm Goodwill Hunting up in this bitch solving complex theorems. I am well aware of how mind-bogglingly stupid it is to have to explain to full-grown adults that 75 plus 6 is 81, and that 81 is a much bigger number than 77, which is what Donald Trump got. I'm aware that the math is stupid and easy. It's you and your friends who aren't aware of that. It's you and people like you who keep insisting that she would have lost no matter what, that you didn't have any effect on the election, that she would have lost even if all of you had voted for her. I'm responding to your baffling stupidity, to your assertion that it didn't matter how many votes she got, she was always going to lose. And your response to me is that I'm stupid for pointing out that more votes would have helped her win? Dude, fucking... Oh, fuck. We've got 2 more things we need to cover, so we're gonna have to do a part 4. Shit. It's part 4. I had a whole thing planned, but then the woke bloke posted a new video and just sort of handed me the W on a silver platter, so we're just gonna...
He has responded by shitting his pants all afternoon, making videos while avoiding the point. I will not be watching his 9-part series where he makes a lot of noises and faces while saying nothing.
Did you catch that? I won't be watching, he says, right after telling people that my videos are just me making faces and noises, saying nothing, avoiding the point. He says, but I won't be watching them. Then how do you know what's in them? Hey, Sport, how do you know I'm avoiding the point and saying nothing if you're not watching? Also, he tries to get this little jab in there about how I made a 9-part miniseries about him. At the time that he posted this video, I had only posted 2 responses to him. This was his 3rd video. So not only had he made more videos about me at the time he was trying to make that joke, but like, buddy, you're the one who started this. You made 2 videos about me before I even knew you existed. Clown behavior.
The only video that I really watched, he had a very big self-report in it.
Spoiler warning, this self-report he's so excited about is the moment where he just exposes to the world what a flagrant liar he is, and we are going to get to that. Stay tuned.
And it's because leftists tell the truth about people like him that their conspiracy theories have now morphed into blaming leftists for losing the election.
In a past video, you accused me of not knowing what leftism is. Like all intellectually lazy, bad faith liars, you were projecting when you said that. In fact, most of what you do in your videos is projection. Like when you said that I lie to my audience for attention, right now, you're probably getting the most negative attention you've ever gotten in your life, and it's directly because you decided to make a series of videos where you just brazenly lie about me. I am a leftist, firmly, and I don't care how much that fact bothers you. It bothers me that you identify as a leftist, frankly, so we're kind of in that boat together, I guess. The reason I have so much disdain for you is everybody on the internet hates leftists, including and especially other leftists, but it's because of leftists like you. You are the leftist that makes everybody hate leftism. Your behavior associates leftism with a certain narcissistic, egocentric, off-putting vibe that people really don't fuck with. When you speak as though you are not simply an ambassador for leftism, but the ambassador for leftism. You are the end-all be-all. You are the arbiter. You are the one who decides who is and is is not cool enough to be an official member of the Leftism Club. You seem to believe that leftism as a political project and ideology begins and ends with you and your ego. The reality is that the vast majority of leftists in the United States of America follow people like me on the internet and not people like you. They vote for the Democrats, not because they are Democrats or neo-fascist shitlibs, but because they're people who understand strategy and math, and they know that in order for our political project to be viable, we need to play the numbers. We are not leftists because we perfectly agree on everything. We are leftists because we agree on the things that count. We want to live in a society where healthcare, housing, education, and food are unassailable human rights. We want an end to the evils of the oligarchic billionaire class, and we want to eradicate bigotry in all forms. But because of you and your very small, very unpopular, very loud group of friends, a lot of people think that leftists are kind of stupid and unserious. People think you're stupid because you don't seem to understand really basic arithmetic, like how 81 is a bigger number than 75. People think you're unserious because you don't seem to understand proportionality and harm reduction. You claim to care about 70,000 deaths in Gaza between October 2023 and now, but then when someone like me points out to you that 600,000 people died in a global medical genocide in the first year of the second Trump administration as the direct result of Doge cutting USAID, something that would not have happened under Democratic leadership, you're silent. You just speak in these abstract vagaries and platitudes. You say stuff like, well, bad stuff would happen no matter who's in office. The Democrats and the Republicans are just two sides of the same coin, uniparty. We'd still have billionaires if Harris had won. Yeah, no shit. But you know what Kamala Harris would not have done? She would not have grown her personal wealth by $4 billion in the first year of her administration, something that the current president did through crypto scams. We'd still have shitty healthcare, yeah, no duh. Under Harris, the absolute worst thing that was going to happen is maybe our healthcare system wouldn't have substantively improved in any way. Under Trump, in just the first year, he has passed legislation that has quadrupled healthcare costs for the average American citizen and has made it so that millions of people have lost access to healthcare altogether. Well, we'd still have ICE, yeah, but Kamala Harris wasn't going to pass the big beautiful bill and take ICE's budget from $6 billion to $85 billion, a thing that was explicitly outlined in Project 2025, which, if you'll remember, was the plan for the Trump campaign, not the Harris campaign. But mostly I hate you because you make people think that leftists are untrustworthy, disingenuous, bad faith liars because you are an untrustworthy, disingenuous, bad faith liar.
He's upset that I said that he looks like he should be auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse or that he works at Medieval Times. And, you know, if you said that to your best friend, hey, man, you look like you're auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse, would they really get upset with you?
First of all, I was definitely never upset that you said I look like I'm auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse. It was just a bad roast is all. It was an elementary school level insult. It was the kind of thing an 8-year-old thinks is clever and incisive. Second of all, what? If you said this to your best friend, who the fuck told you that we're friends? We're not friends. You're a weird, off-putting, unlikable, ugly stranger from the internet who was trying and failing to hurt my feelings by hurling unprompted ad hominem attacks about my physical appearance. I saw your stupid video with your juvenile bad insults, and I simply responded in kind by objectively out-roasting you in every conceivable way. I read you for filth. I absolutely left you in tatters because I needed you to know you were picking a fight you had absolutely no business picking. But let's hear your version of events.
His response was to immediately go into, you look like you SA people.
Yeah, that's what happened. I just crashed out and said, well, this guy SAs people. It's not like there's video evidence that could possibly prove that you're lying to your audience. Play the clip. You know what? This is going to go a lot faster if I just show you how it's done. You look like Louis C.K. when he was younger, before he had facial hair, and he looked somehow even more like an obvious sex offender. So that works because it's mean, but also, goddamn, is that accurate? Hey man, it's not my fault that you started a roast battle without having the ability to roast well or without understanding how roast battles work. I'm not required to go easy on you because your insults were bad and unfunny. The rules are meanest, most accurate joke wins. I didn't just baselessly accuse you of essaying people out of nowhere. I don't just go around baselessly accusing people of things who I've never met. Who do you think I am? You? I said you look like a young Louis C.K. without facial hair because you fucking do. I also said you look like a cock, you look inbred, and you look like an uglier version of Stephen Miller because those things are also very, very true. But don't let me interrupt your blatant lies. You were on a roll.
But then Austin explains how you should insult people. He says, and there has to be a little bit of truth to it. And his big example is using himself. And who does he compare himself to? Ron Jeremy, who has a long history of essaying people. So I just want to be clear. I did not compare him to a horrible essay offender. He did that himself, apparently believing there is some truth to it.
Wow. What a turn of events for old Austin. And it would be quite a devastating self-report. Unfortunately, I am gonna have to play the full unedited clip just to find out whether or not this story is even the slightest bit true. I'll even demonstrate how you could have roasted me better. This guy looks like Weird Al Yankovic's uglier, fatter, way less talented, way less successful brother. Like Doug Yankovic. This guy looks like the alcoholic dad at Disneyland who ruins the family vacation, not because he gets too drunk, but because he chokes on his fourth corn dog and has to be taken out of the park on a stretcher. This guy looks like Steve Buscemi from the 30 Rock How Do You Do Fellow Kids meme. Everything about the way that he's dressed says that he wants people to think he's maybe 25, but everything about his face says that he's absolutely 47. See, the major difference between me and the woke bloke when it comes to things like integrity, reliability, and just straight up honesty is receipts. When I make a video about someone, I show you evidence of the things that I am responding to. I show you video evidence of them stating their positions out loud. I let you see them say it, and then I respond with commentary. When the woke bloke talks about me or anyone else, he tells his audience who I am. He tells them what I've said. He says, you don't need to go check for yourself. You don't need to go verify it. You can trust me. This is what Austin said. And he never provides receipts or evidence because he thinks his audience are a bunch of uncritical, gullible rubes who won't require any evidence. And the scary, upsetting thing is, friends, he's 100% right about that. When he said that I made a 9-part miniseries, this guy just fully believed it. Was just like, oh my God, he made a 9-part series? Didn't go check to see if it was true. This person up here just, no way, Ron Jeremy? He actually said that? Really? No, not really. That was just a lie. This guy lies to you all the time, and you always believe him for some reason. People on the internet and people in general tend to be way too gullible. When someone like the woke bloke says something authoritatively with way too much smug, unearned confidence, people just accept it completely uncritically. Like, this is even someone in my own audience. Not to throw too much shade at this person, but this person's like, I'm pretty sure he lied about you. I even went and checked. Like, I watched the video twice to make sure, but I don't know. Like, I think he's lying about you. Diva, with all the love in my heart, you don't need to stop at pretty sure. He definitely lied to you. It definitely happened. You personally verified it. So I 8-miled him, essentially. It's a common roast tactic where you roast yourself better than you think your opponent is capable of roasting you, thereby leaving them with no ammunition. It's a great finishing technique. Once you're done eviscerating your opponent, you go after yourself so that you leave them with nothing to move forward with. And in this space, the woke bloke panicked and just started making shit up. There is simply no way that he watched me say Weird Al's brother, Alcoholic Dad at Disneyland, and Steve Buscemi, and somehow he honestly, mistakenly misremembered that I said Ron Jeremy. I have a lot of people in my audience who told me that they follow both me and the woke bloke, and they wish we weren't fighting right now. To all of those people, I have to say, do you see now, at long last, do you see that this man is objectively an untrustworthy, lying liar who lies and should not be taken seriously by anyone in any capacity? I am done with my 4-part video series dismantling whatever fledgling credibility this pale freak may have held in certain fringe leftist online spaces. However, I will end with this. I am publicly challenging the woke bloke to an official public debate. There will be publicly known terms, it will be filmed, it will be live streamed, it will be moderated. I fully expect you to reject this challenge, but on the off chance that you do accept my challenge, and I secretly hope that you do, I need you to know that it's gonna go exactly as well for you as that roast battle did. People are going to be calling you the choke bloke for the rest of your natural life. I will not stop until I have ruined you.
Good news, bad news, friends. First, the bad news. I am going to be talking yet again about this sock who was unfortunately brought to life by a vindictive wizard. But the good news is I'm talking about him again because he's accepted my challenge for a public debate. Well, he's sort of accepted my challenge. He has demands. Dear God, could anything have possibly been more predictable? Like, obviously, he wasn't just going to admit to his fan base that he was afraid to debate me. He was going to say, sure, I'll debate you, and then try to weasel out of it with some rat fuck shit like this. You don't get to make demands, you psycho. And just to be clear, neither do I. What we're going to do is negotiate the terms until we are mutually satisfied with them, at which point we will publish the terms for the viewing public ahead of time so that everyone knows the rules going in, and so that neither one of us can try to disingenuously claim that the terms were something other than they were after the fact. And when I say neither one of us, of course, I'm just talking about you because you are allergic to telling the truth. But anyway, I thought for the sake of entertainment, let's just take a look at his deranged demand video.
And I will debate him on 3 conditions. 1, there is this person that has said Austin owes him $1,000 because when they were beefing, Austin asked him to make a full video with the context that Austin wanted, and Austin offered to pay him $1,000. The guy did it, and then Austin never paid. He has to pay this guy.
Holy shit, you suck so much. Hey, woke bloke, why aren't you telling your audience the name of the guy you want me to pay the $1,000 to? Who is that guy? Woke bloke, why do you just keep saying this guy? Austin needs to pay this random guy. You put a picture of him up on the screen. Austin defrauded this poor black man out of $1,000. Who is that man? Woke bloke, what's his name? You and I both know who that is, but you're not going to tell your audience because you're a fucking liar, so I'll tell them for you. That's Jeffrey Mead, a very popular far right-wing MAGA influencer and prolific fascistic Nazi propagandist. I shit you not, the woke bloke's first and most important demand is that I pay a well-known Nazi propagandist $1,000. Not only does this guy lie to his audience by not telling them who Jeff Mead is, but he also lies by not telling them what actually happened between me and Jeff. So the story goes like this. Jeff Mead was disingenuously cutting clips of me out of context and editing them together to make it seem like I was saying things
I wasn't saying, sort of like someone else we know. So I cooked up this plan. I figured Jeff Mead's just a lying grifter who will literally do anything for money. And I went to him and I said, Jeff, if you show your audience the full clips that you edited and show them that you were lying to them and admit to them that you were knowingly lying to them, I'll give you $1,000. Being the lying grifter that he is, Jeff did not disappoint, and he showed his audience that he was indeed lying, and obviously, I didn't give Jeff Mead, the fascist Nazi propagandist, any money. What I did instead was I donated $1,000 to various progressive charities in Jeff Mead's name. It was pretty fucking funny, and to this day, I still think it was one of the more baller-ass things I've ever done in my stupid little life. But a lot of progressive people got really hand-wringy at the time because they couldn't get over the fact that at the end of the day, I had told a fib to Jeffrey. If you're one of those people and you're still out there and you still feel that way, I need you to hear me when I say this. You could not pay me to give a fuck. I lied to a liar. I conned a con artist. I cheated a cheat. I tricked a Nazi. Fuck Jeff Mead and everything he stands for. If you gave me 10,000 lifetimes to do it over again, I would do it the exact same way every single time. Why a progressive woke leftist would want me to actively fund Nazi propaganda is beyond me, but go ahead and feel free to openly speculate in the comments. As for demand one, you can go fuck yourself. I am never going to give Jeff Mead my money, but I think you already knew that when you made this demand. You are appropriately fucking terrified to debate me, so you're making an insane demand that you know I am never going to honor, so that you can say the reason why the debate's not happening is because Austin wouldn't meet my very simple and reasonable demands. You're like a guy who challenges somebody to a fight and then realizes he made a huge mistake and he's gonna get his ass kicked, and while you're panicking you go, no, I'm still totally down to fight, I'm not scared at all, it's just like I've got some demands first. If we're gonna fight, you gotta go over and expose yourself to those kids at that elementary school. Otherwise, no fight. It's so transparent and pathetic and obvious what you're doing. I genuinely feel so much secondhand embarrassment for anyone who still takes you seriously at this point.
Second, if we're going to debate, the topic has to be why Kamala lost the 2024 election.
Jesus Christ, no fucking duh. That's what we're debating about. Oh my God, you are so stupid and bad at everything.
Third, it has to be moderated by somebody experienced in moderating online debates.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously. I've even got a handful of names of people who I think would be really good at it, people who do this professionally and have been doing it professionally for a very long time. I'm also willing to entertain names from you as well.
And with a correction, but also a demand of my own.
What do you think you've been doing this whole fucking time? You say, I want to end on a correction, but also with a demand of my own. That's all this video is you making demands of your own. Oh my God, you're so fucking stupid.
Because in my last video, I explained that Austin compared himself to Ron Jeremy when he was making fun of himself. I went through and I watched the video, and in fact, he did not compare himself to Ron Jeremy. That was a subconscious connection that I made myself.
I just kept this section in the video because I like that he admits that I caught him lying. Oh, it was just a subconscious slip. Oh, was it? Is that what it was? Shut the fuck up. Everything you've said about me from the start of this whole thing has been a lie. You said I'm a capitalist. That's a fucking lie. You said I don't know what leftism is. That's a fucking lie. You said I'm a paid shill and a grifter who lies to his audience for money. That's a fucking lie. You keep saying you haven't watched my videos. That's an obvious lie. How did you know that I called you out for lying at the very end of video 4, a 14-minute long video, if you didn't watch any of the videos, you fucking liar?
I also demand that you correct your mistake. You don't follow my content, so you're not aware that a lot of my story here is that how I in fact voted for her because she was the lesser of two evils, and I learned that that doesn't do any good because you're voting for evil. So if you're gonna complain about me accidentally comparing you to Ron Jeremy, you have to explain that Woke Bloke did not in fact sabotage Kamala Harris's campaign.
I gotta be completely honest, I was not expecting this one. For context, I need to show you a clip from an earlier video that he did about me. me?
That's why he thinks leftists want to vote for the perfect Democrat, like we want Jesus Christ in the House of Representatives.
So what the woke bloke is saying there is that according to him, real leftists don't vote for Democrats. The only people who vote for Democrats are capitalist, neo-fascist shit libs. So if you're paying attention, what that means is that the woke bloke is saying that up until 2024, he was a capitalist, neo-fascist shitlib who voted for Democrats. And then at some point in the last 15 months, the fog lifted from his eyes and he woke up and became a woke, progressive leftist. He became the woke bloke, and he realized that the best way to accomplish progressive leftist goals in America is to willfully throw elections and cede power to Republicans. And he is demanding that I make sure you know that. He is demanding that I make sure you know that while I've been a leftist for 20 years, he's only been a leftist for maybe a little over a year. Hey dude, from the bottom of my heart, consider demand 4 met. I am genuinely so sorry. I was giving you way too much credit. I thought your position was something significantly less stupid than it actually is. That one's on me. My bad. I will not be responding in video form from this point forward. The next time we correspond, it will be to plan the terms of our debate or not at all, and I will just go back to being blissfully unaware of your existence again in like 2 weeks. Oh, by the way, you guys, I found out today that the woke bloke is a real-life lawyer with a real-life law degree. Can you fucking believe that? Buddy, when I'm done with you, they're gonna make you eat that law degree in front of a judge with a fork and knife, you stupid clown motherfucker. Bye! Okay, first things first, I could have and maybe should have just left it there. I mean, I even said that I would leave it there. I directly said that I would make no further videos on the topic, and yet here we fucking are. Deal with it. One point of clarification. I say in that series repeatedly that it's clear the bloke has no idea who I actually am or what my actual positions are because he appears to have only watched one video. I thought that was true at the time because he only ever referenced one video, this one. And his characterization of me and my politics was so wildly inaccurate, I figured he'd know how wrong he was if he had watched just a few more of my videos. But I've since come to believe that the woke bloke has actually been aware of who I am and what I do for a very long time. I think it's even likely that the woke bloke may have been a follower of mine at one point, back when he was a misguided Democrat voting shitlib, but once he saw the light of online protest voting leftism, he defiantly unfollowed. I'm pretty sure this is the case because as our back and forth kept going, the woke bloke kept referencing things that I had said in videos years earlier. He was completely aware of all of the details of the Jeff Meade feud, something that happened several years ago. I think the bloke made it seem like he had just stumbled across this one video and decided to respond, the same way that he kept insisting he wasn't watching any of my response videos, even though he always managed to know specific things I had said in those videos he wasn't watching. I think he knew he was lying the whole time. I think everything about the way he chose to frame this attack was deliberate and calculated. By claiming to not know who I am, he appears to be less emotionally invested than he is. He appears more casual and less like someone who has a deeply personal axe to grind. And he strategically keeps that aspect of the attack hidden from his viewers because, I don't know, he's a weird little freak liar who lies about everything. So even though I've come to believe that I was wrong to say he didn't know me or anything about me, I still think that series of videos we just watched is reasonably sufficient in establishing a few key things. It establishes a rough sketch of the general character of the woke bloke, a weird man who decided, seemingly out of nowhere, to start hurling baseless accusations, lies, and ad hominem attacks at me, and then pretended I was weird and pathetic for simply noticing him and responding to him. It establishes the woke bloke as a liar who repeatedly tells reveals increasingly overt and objective lies that grow more and more glaring and demonstrable throughout the course of our exchange. It establishes him as someone who isn't interested in or capable of backing up his claims with any substantive evidence. One of the main reasons why he lies and claims to not be watching my videos even though he was clearly invested in every second of them is so he can have an excuse for not responding to any of my arguments. He can weasel out of having to substantively refute my videos by simply claiming he never saw them.
I will not be watching his 9-part series where he makes a lot of noises and faces while saying nothing.
It's kind of like how Speaker of the House Mike Johnson just says he isn't aware of things that happened anytime he doesn't want to defend his personal politics.
I don't know. I've never seen the Epstein evidence. It wasn't in my lane.
I don't know anything about the mean coin thing. I don't know.
I don't know anything about the dinner. I was a little busy this past week, as you know.
I'm not following all the twists and turns of the Qatar jet. I haven't looked into the details of the RSC budget. There's lots of nuances. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it. I have not heard or looked into any of the details of that. I've been a little busy. I haven't seen the specifics of that, and I don't know. I don't know the details. I just saw a headline this morning. I don't know what you're talking about with the children.
If the woke bloke hasn't watched my videos, if he isn't aware of any of the arguments I'm making in those videos, then he doesn't have to grapple with the burden of refuting any of my positions. The problem is, the bloke keeps giving himself away by selectively responding to things in those videos, like the moment where I directly called him out for lying about the Ron Jeremy comment. He could only know that I had caught him lying if he had watched that video that he claims he didn't watch. I know I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I'm just trying to further establish that the series we just watched clearly demonstrates the woke bloke is a consistently and indisputably dishonest person. He is an entirely unserious person who claims to be a far leftist revolutionary who admittedly only joined the true left about a year ago and I guess is already woke enough to school me on the virtues of true leftism and to confidently act as an unelected mouthpiece for the online progressive community.
A lot of my story here is that how I in fact voted for her because she was the lesser of two evils, and I learned that that doesn't do any good because you're voting for evil.
I think that series of videos is more than sufficient to discredit the bloke in the eyes of any reasonably intelligent onlooker. However, there are still a few things I'd like to address directly just for the sake of ultimate clarity. For the record, I think these things are evident in the series we just watched if you're listening closely, but I just want to make sure they are 100% crystal clear before moving forward with this analysis. Spoiler alert for events yet to come in the video, but the woke bloke and I will not be having a public debate. Sorry to anyone who was looking for a link to pre-save tickets. You'll see exactly why the debate isn't happening later on, but in that debate, I had hoped for the chance to confront the bloke directly on several claims he made about me. Namely, that I was an election denial conspiracy theorist, that I was a paid DNC shill who accepts dark money to run cover for genocide and knowingly spread misinformation, and that I am a liberal capitalist who does not know what leftism is. So let's start with the first claim, that I'm an election-denying conspiracy theorist.
He is an election-denying conspiracy theorist.
The woke bloke claims to be a lawyer, and any halfway decent litigator will know that the way you choose to frame something linguistically is going to have a major effect on how your intended audience views that thing. You can slap the phrase conspiracy theorist on the end of anything and make it seem a lot more crazy than it actually is. You could say, Austin Archer believes that the Epstein files are legitimately and deeply disturbing and should be investigated thoroughly by a competent, nonpartisan law enforcement agency, aka not the Trump DOJ. Or you could say, Austin Archer is a deep state secret human trafficking underground billionaire cabal conspiracy theorist. The first phrasing is reasonable and relatable. The second makes me sound like I've probably spent too much time on QAnon forums, even though they're both technically saying the same thing. So let's be clear, I've made a grand total of like 3 videos that talk about my thoughts on the legitimacy of the 2024 presidential election results, but the woke bloke is framing his characterization of me and my content as though my entire platform is dedicated to spreading election 2024 truth or conspiracy theories nonstop. The actual extent of my suspicion around the 2024 election results essentially boils down to this. Donald Trump is a known cheater who cheats at things and regularly brags about how often he gets away with cheating. He cheated in the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. That's not a fringe conspiracy theory. That's just a matter of factual historical record. The Russia collusion happened. Donald Trump colluded with a foreign adversarial power to run a social media psyop against Hillary Clinton in the run-up to the 2016 presidential election. The insurrection and attempted overthrow of our government on January 6, 2021 happened. Donald Trump incited a violent mob to try to murder elected officials as they ratified the results of the 2020 election after he lost to Joe Biden. He called delegates in red states on the phone and ordered them to manufacture votes for him that weren't there. He openly tried to steal that election. Again, these things happened. They aren't events that were alleged on some dark web forum. They were actual events that were televised and witnessed by the entire world. My so-called election denial conspiracy theory rhetoric is no more complicated or outlandish than to simply state that I think Donald Trump shouldn't be trusted. I think given his long documented history of cheating and stealing and defrauding the American people, it is reasonable to question the legitimacy of anything that ever tilts in his favor. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, given that Donald Trump did cheat in the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections, it's likely he also cheated in the 2024 election. I think it's frankly ridiculous to say, even though it's a matter of factual historical record, that Donald Trump cheated in the 2016 and 2020 elections. Only a crazy conspiracy theorist would ever even entertain the notion that he could or would do it again. I think the entire point of the Stop the Steal movement on the American right after Trump's loss to Biden in 2020 was to poison the well on good faith election skepticism, to make questioning official election results synonymous with being a crazy person who can't accept objective reality. And that strategy seems to have worked brilliantly on stupid, gullible people like the woke bloke and his followers. But again, that is the full extent of my election skepticism. I don't have any official theories that I'm pushing. I'm not obsessively crafting narratives. I'm just stating the obvious and kind of leaving it at that. As I stated earlier, I don't think this is the sole reason he won in 2024. I think all elections are won and lost on a multitude of factors. This was just likely one of them. But the woke bloke incorrectly seems to think that I cannot simultaneously be skeptical of Donald Trump and also critical of the protest voting leftist faction. He thinks it needs to be one or the other. It doesn't. On to claim number 2, that I'm a paid shill who accepts dark money to spread misinformation and to run cover for genocide.
Austin lies to his audience for attention because he's a grifty little bitch.
I think the majority of these accusations started to emerge after Taylor Lorenz published her now semi-infamous Wired article that set out to expose the Chorus Group and how they used dark money donors to fund a cohort of left-leaning political content creators. Even though my name wasn't mentioned in that article because I was not then, nor have I ever been, part of the Chorus creator team, this article started a wildfire of people tagging me and people like me anytime the question of credibility with left-leaning online creators arose. The bloke and many in his audience seem convinced that even though I wasn't named in that article, I'm still probably accepting some form of dark money in large sums to do what I do, and nothing I say or do will ever convince these people otherwise, no matter how little evidence there is to support the claim. And that's the main thing at play here. evidence. In a debate setting, I simply would have asked the woke bloke to provide evidence for the claim that I am knowingly spreading misinformation to my audience because I am being paid to. I would ask for the receipts, knowing he wouldn't be able to provide any because none exist, and it's kind of that simple, really. I have no problem acknowledging that I get paid to do what I do, but as I stated earlier, finding out someone is getting paid is not the smoking gun that so many seem to think it is.
All of these people are freaks. They're getting paid.
Saying, oh my god, you guys, they're getting paid is actually nothing. It's just pretty uninteresting and obvious. I'm upfront about the fact that this is my full-time occupation. It should logically follow that if this is my job, I am figuring out ways to get paid for doing it. That's not a gotcha. That's just the internal logic of how jobs work. If the integrity of my page and my message has been bought, then you should be able to clearly and easily demonstrate that with evidence. Show the videos where I run cover for Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people. Show me one example of me equivocating or both sidesing that issue. I've got hundreds of hours of content of me being explicitly anti-genocide in my messaging. Find me one single clip where I'm not. From the moment Taylor Lorenz posted that article and people started feverishly tagging me in the comments, this claim has been lacking any evidence to support it whatsoever. And all available evidence points to the opposite being true, that the integrity of my messaging and my platform is intact, even to my own economic detriment at times, and that my beliefs and positions are clearly, authentically, consistently mine. Claim number 3, I'm a liberal capitalist who doesn't know what leftism is.
I'm not surprised that this guy doesn't.
Doesn't know what leftism is.
Somebody tell this guy that he's pro-capitalist.
I don't think he understands that.
Again, evidence. Find me the video where I espouse the benefits of capitalism, where I talk about why liberalism or centrism are superior political stances to hard leftism. Demonstrate the validity of the claim. This shouldn't be hard to do if it's even a little bit true, right? While you're out looking for the evidence, let me just state once again that I fucking hate capitalism, and I want it to be systematically dismantled and replaced with a better system. One where, ideally, the labor force that generates capital owns the means of production. As far as I can tell, the main ideological difference between liberalism and leftism is that liberals fundamentally support and seek to uphold a more equitable version of capitalism, but still capitalism nonetheless, whereas leftists would rather see capitalism dismantled and replaced altogether. So there you go. I know how to properly define leftism. Suck it. I don't really know where the Archer is such a cucked out lib thing comes from. I'm pretty sure the woke bloke and people like him think that I'm a liberal capitalist because I advocate for the Democrats during election cycles. Democrats are a liberal capitalist party, therefore you cannot be a true leftist while supporting them, is essentially the logic. The problem is, of course, there is no mainstream leftist option on offer. The only viable campaigns in America are unfortunately run by one of the two establishment parties. The woke bloke says this about his personal conversion from liberalism to leftism.
In fact, voted for her because she was the lesser of two evils, and I learned that that doesn't do any good because you're voting for evil.
This is the logic that leftists like the woke bloke operate under. Voting for the lesser of two evils is still evil. I don't want to be evil, so I refuse to participate in a system that only offers me evil options. Sounds pretty cool and based. The problem is, you don't get to opt out of the system. Whatever principled stance you think you're taking, this system marches on with or without you. It's like if you told someone to pick a babysitter for their newborn baby, and the options you gave them were a pug or a wild rabid wolf. The woke bloke is basically a person saying, what the hell are you talking about? They're both dogs. I don't want to leave my infant in the care of a dog. Even if one of the dogs is less scary than the other one, I still fundamentally don't feel like I should be entrusting such a serious responsibility to a fucking dog. The logic makes sense on the surface. He's right. They are both dogs. Both parties do evil things. The problem is, as I already stated, there is no opting out of the dilemma. One of these dogs is going to watch your baby. If you don't choose, the choice will be made for you. And it's likely going to be the fucking wolf. When leftists vote for Democrats, we don't do it because we are Democrats or because we think the Democratic Party is the non-evil choice or that that's the choice that will immediately heal the world. We do it with the full awareness that it is nowhere near adequate. We do it with the full awareness that many evils will continue to proliferate under the banner and leadership of that party. But we understand crucially that if the only two viable options are the most evil people in the world and people who are significantly less evil but still evil, if no evil isn't possible, then we have a moral responsibility to make sure the least possible evil takes place. Like, I get that you don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils. What I don't get is why you're okay with ceding power to the more evil of two evils. The question I would have loved to pose to the woke bloke in a debate is, okay, you don't like the choices on offer, so what is your viable alternative? Viable being the key word there. You can explain to me why you don't want the pug to babysit your baby. I have no problem understanding your reasoning. It makes sense immediately. What I don't understand is how you seem to think that the wolf is a preferable alternative, or at the very least that there isn't a meaningful difference between the two. Because again, if it's not the pug, it's going to be the wolf. It makes absolutely no sense to say I can't vote for a centrist liberal capitalist party. I'm too anti-capitalist for that. Therefore, I will directly enable way worse, way more evil capitalists to take over the world. I can't let the pug babysit my child. Therefore, I'll just let the wolf eat my baby instead. It's just not a cogent or well-reasoned political philosophy in the slightest, and I've never been able to get one of these people to explain it to me. We both claim to be firmly anti-dogs eating babies, but we have to find a way to strategically fight for our shared stance within the confines of the broken system we find ourselves in. These people are essentially making the same weak, juvenile argument as conservatives who say, oh, you're anti-capitalism? Interesting that you're spewing your anti-capitalist memes on an iPhone that was built on the exploitation of labor by capitalists. Being able to identify that the system we were born into has major glaring flaws is the entry point to leftism, not the ultimate destination. These people are stuck on level 1 of revolutionary thought. Things are bad. I don't like the way things are designed systematically. The government is bad and does bad things and tells lies in the name of upholding capitalism and protecting the capital interests of a super minority billionaire class. I don't like that. My government tells me I have agency and power in my vote, but then only lets me choose between two capitalist options that both commit war crimes in the name of imperialistic expansion and capitalistic dominance. I don't like that. Congratulations, you've made it to the bare minimum of sociopolitical awareness. The next step is to start to think about how you can fight for your newfound leftist values within the highly corrupt system you find yourself in. Simply refusing to participate or talking about revolution while not actually doing anything isn't a realistic strategy or option. You simply cannot directly enable Republican power while claiming to be further left than someone like me. You cannot claim to be more anti-dogs eating babies than me while feeding your baby to the wolf. Anyway, I could honestly go on and on about that for hours, but I think we've thoroughly established the who and what of the woke bloke's identity and apparent ideology. Now to the why of it all. There are a few different pressing why questions at play in this whole narrative, but I'm sure the most glaring one for a lot of viewers is, why am I doing this at all? Why am I giving this person so much energy and attention? If you ask the Woke Blokes audience, they'd tell you that I'm doing it because I'm big mad. He got me bothered and I just can't stop foaming on about it because I've got a paper-thin ego and secretly I really think that the Pee-wee's Playhouse roast was fire. It was actually really good and he got me with that one. Jesus fucking Christ, you guys. I wish people understood how much meaner people get on the internet than that. I wish people knew that Pee-wee's Playhouse line was like the 1,000th meanest thing said to me that week. I wish people understood that my family regularly says meaner things to me than that at like dinner parties. It bothers me that people think I'm bothered by that. I have no problem admitting when I'm bothered. It's just the specifics of what is bothering me and why. That's the thing that gets me. Oh, God damn it. Sorry. Where were we? To really understand why I am doing what I'm doing, we need to first understand why the woke bloke is the way he is and why he does the things he does. Now, my official position on this is I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy, to be completely honest. I don't even know his real name. I just know his screen name, which I think is really dumb and bad. I don't even know if he's a real lawyer. I just have to take his word on that. I don't know where he lives. I don't even know if he's actually a leftist. In fact, it would honestly make sense if he wasn't. Based on his behavior, it would make sense if he was some kind of an operative for the right who was intentionally trying to destabilize online leftist communities by attacking channels like mine with baseless accusations of impropriety and grifting. But I don't know if he is an op. I'm not claiming that. I have no evidence to support that theory other than just it would make his behavior make more sense, but I don't want to give him or his audience any more fuel to call me a whacked out conspiracy theorist, so that is not what I'm saying. I am saying I don't know. My official position is I don't know who the woke bloke is or why he does the things he does. There are several theories I could speculate on, but I think my favorite theory, the one I'm the most interested in, is perhaps the simplest. He's just a common garden variety, run-of-the-mill fucking troll. So let's talk about trolls. Trolls! You know them, you love them. Well, you probably don't love them, but you know them. You might even be them. Doing what I do for the last 6 years has given me an up-close and personal look at the psychology of the common internet troll, why they are the way they are, and why they do the slimy little things they do. While many trolls like to think of themselves as agents of chaos, unmoored by the rules and dignified codes the rest of us strive to live by, trolls generally do behave in accordance with several concrete guiding principles, rules, or laws. The first and most essential law of trolling is that everything is a W. What I mean by that is that no matter what a troll says or does in any given interaction, and no matter how you respond, the troll will claim victory. You will never have the satisfaction of watching a troll crumble in defeat and admit that they were bested. A true and practiced troll knows exactly how to turn any interaction, no matter how disastrous, no matter how embarrassing, into a perceived triumph.
I win.
I had a hand just like that before. I didn't win.
Because I win.
This is bullshit!
A troll could come at you with a grammatical nightmare of a sentence, criticizing your intelligence while managing to misspell the words your and intelligence. You see this as an obvious layup, a ball that is floating perfectly in the air, waiting to be viciously spiked down into the unsuspecting troll's misshapen nose bridge between their beady troll eyes. But when you confidently respond, maybe learn how to spell before commenting on other people's asterisk intelligence, the troll just remarks on how petty you are for choosing to call out their small cosmetic mistake. They point and laugh at how pathetic it is that the best response you could muster was a spell check. They claim the W and vanish. The second law of trolling is not all victories are created equal. While the troll always wins, there are levels to how glorious and total a win can be. The first level of victory is that the troll is simply ignored. You don't block them, you don't respond to them, you simply meet them with indifferent silence. Now this seems like a W for you, right? The troll's main objective is to get you to notice, to make you flinch, to know that their efforts have mattered and had some kind of an impact. Ignoring them should be an assured way to annihilate everything the troll exists to do. That's why it's just level 1. This is not a very satisfying victory for the troll, but it is, unfortunately, a victory nonetheless. Upon being ignored, the troll will likely continue commenting on multiple pieces of content, multiple different videos featuring whoever's attention they are seeking. The troll might even grow so bold as to make some content of their own, directly calling that person out. Their insults will likely escalate and intensify every time they go unacknowledged, in hopes that by intensifying their rhetoric, they will increase the likelihood of some kind of a response. Ignoring is probably the best and easiest way to deprive the troll of the thing they want most, but it is hard because it must be total. To truly ignore a troll, you must necessarily allow the troll's poisonous, cruel words to publicly remain and exist completely unchallenged. This means that you have to pretend not to see them while knowing other people may see them, or worse, other people may even agree with or be influenced by them. Even though the troll is deprived of the satisfaction of getting your attention, a cost is still paid. They were still allowed to spew public insults and accusations at you, consequence-free. They got away with it, essentially. They can take some measure of comfort in knowing that the insults and accusations they've hurled are being seen by other people in the comments and still being allowed to permeate the social ecosystem of your channel in some way. The fact that you aren't able to challenge the insults or accusations means that the troll can claim they are true, that you have failed to dismantle or disprove them, most likely because you know you can't. The second level of victory for a troll is minimal engagement. This is when you technically engage with the troll, but only to silence them. Maybe you go through and delete all of their comments. Maybe you even go as far as to block and or report them. If you quietly delete a troll's insulting and defamatory comments, the troll will absolutely notice. And now you'll have a very loud voice publicly saying that you are going around deleting negative comments about yourself, calling into question your integrity and reliability as a popular, trusted voice in the online community. They will paint you as a narcissistic control freak who is desperately trying to avoid criticism and control their public image, and who doesn't have the moral fortitude to admit their own flaws. When you do this, you risk legitimizing the troll in the eyes of less discerning onlookers. Nobody likes a guilty person who is actively trying to destroy the evidence against them. If you've got nothing to hide, then why are you going around deleting comments? It's just bad vibes. Block or report the troll, and once again, they will know that their words have reached their intended target and taken root. What's more, they will know that the words were damaging enough that you felt the need to cut them off entirely or have their account investigated. You were bothered, flustered, mad even. Not only is the troll now enjoying the victory of being noticed, they are also enjoying the victory of knowing that what they did got under your skin. They had an effect. They did something that actually mattered. The third and most total level of victory for a troll is direct engagement. It's what I did with the woke bloke. I fully acknowledged his existence. I said his chosen screen name out loud on my platform multiple times. I platformed his grotesque face and voice, and I publicly acknowledged that he had bothered me enough that I felt it warranted 5 days of my time and energy in a series of response videos. The only thing that could have made this victory more complete and delicious for a troll like the woke bloke is if I had finished it all by blocking him, rage quitting the fight after he successfully owned my attention for the better part of a full week is top tier stuff for internet trolls. More on blocking and rage quitting later. put a pin in that. Direct engagement can take many forms. It can be something as simple and small as responding to a comment with another comment, or it can take the form of something bigger and more formal, like this. What I did with the Woke Bloke is kind of the ultimate form of direct engagement. I gave him the biggest possible stage and spotlight I was capable of giving him. I gave him infinitely more time and energy than anyone like him actually deserves. Direct engagement with a troll is the ultimate win because the third law of trolling is vibes are everything, substance is meaningless. Trolls don't care about winning an online argument by substantively refuting their opponent's positions in clearly articulated, well-sourced, and logically sound ways. They're not trying to be factually more correct than the other person. They are simply trying to appear less bothered.
Austin Archer making a 4-part TikTok series about a creator who has a fraction of the following he has, gives that drill tweet that's like, and another thing, I'm not mad. Don't put in the newspaper that I got mad.
Now, this happened again and again in my exchange with the Woke Bloke and his audience. They would claim they were scoring points, not because his videos made better arguments than mine, but because it appeared he was making me upset. He was winning the vibe war. Even though he made just as many videos as I did, even though he started the entire exchange with 2 videos about me before I even knew who he was succeeding in their eyes at appearing more composed and chill. His videos were shorter than mine. He wasn't defending himself or any of his claims, so he didn't need to take any time to do that. He would simply make a new video, hurl some more baseless accusations while smugly smirking into the camera with his dead fish eyes, hit post, and call it a day. By never bothering to respond to any of my arguments in any substantive way, he kept himself in a dominant position in a strictly vibe-oriented sense. He doesn't need to respond to me or my arguments directly. Responding to them would show that they struck a chord or had some kind of merit. Ignoring them shows that he's entirely unbothered by them. He's so clearly right that he doesn't even need to prove how right he is, and by refusing to play defense, he appears to remain permanently on offense, permanently on attack. And audiences in general just respond better to offense. They like the vibe of a confidently launched attack. A jab, cross, or uppercut is much more entertaining to the mouth-breathing masses than a defensive duck or a block. A logo 3 or a posterizing slam dunk will always get a bigger reaction than a blocked shot or a clutch rebound. It doesn't matter that by refusing to play defense, he essentially is conceding the debate to me. It doesn't matter that substantively I was able to soundly refute all of his attacks and bad positions, and I was able to do that with receipts. It doesn't matter that by any serious metric, I was the only one who was actually saying anything real and honest throughout our entire stupid exchange. All that matters is the vibe check. The Woke Bloke managed to bother me. The fact that I kept responding was proof that I remained bothered. W for the Woke Bloke and his ragtag army of trolls. Who cares what's actually being said? The vibes are all that matter. And sometimes in the realm of sociopolitical discourse, this kind of thing can have real weight and relevance.
We are failing this war. The purpose of a war is to extract political concessions from the enemy. Can you name a single political concession we've gotten from them? Anything at all?
Or are you talking to me?
Any political concession? Because you can't name one.
So here's what we're doing.
No political concessions.
When you get up past your bedtime, you get hyper. Here's the deal.
All right, let's not.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Name one political concession.
Name
one political concession.
Whoa,
honestly,
guys,
I'm not going to have this guy's
everybody,
in my face.
everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No.
Fantastic clip. I genuinely enjoy seeing how upset Scott Jennings is there. I love when he gets called out for having shaky hands right after trying to make fun of Adam Mockler for being up past his bedtime. Adam is definitely winning the vibe war, but more importantly, he is substantively winning the factual war as well. The only time I'm cool with vibes over substance being something that anybody should care about is when the vibes are coupled with a substantively stronger argument. An uppercut is cool when it lands. A logo 3 is cool when it goes in. But the woke bloke was jacking up logo 3s, turning around and holding up 3 fingers to the crowd like Steph Curry, not even checking to see if the ball goes in the net. And it wasn't. He was airballing. Badly. I was never actually losing the vibe check to the woke bloke. My videos weren't just substantively more accurate and better composed than his in every way. I was also just firmly in control of my message and how I wanted to present it the whole time. Also, I never said I wasn't mad. I don't like little dipshits like this lying about me and getting away with it. I don't like watching thousands of people in their audience slurp their bullshit up and make their own videos spewing the same bullshit in their comments. That makes me upset, which is fine. It's fine and normal that people lying about me en masse with no evidence bothers me. So again, why, I hear you asking, why Austin? Why give the woke bloke, a guy who looks like somebody who got stuck halfway through anamorphing from a human to a seagull, this much attention if that's the thing he craves most in this world? Well, my friends, that's because the next law of trolling is no matter what a troll does or says, a troll can never actually win. Whoa, wait a minute, Austin. You just got done saying that the most essential law of trolling is that everything is a W. That trolls always win, no matter what. How is the next law a direct contradiction to the original and most essential one? Well, that's because everything I was saying in the first half of this dissertation on trolling was kind of a lie. And the reason I lied is because the actual most essential law of trolling is that everything is a lie. Trolls, remember, are fundamentally lying liars who lie. Shocking twist, I know. Nothing they say or do can or should be taken seriously by any serious person ever. Their insults are lies. Their accusations are lies. Their ideas are lies. Their philosophical musings are lies. Their stated political beliefs are lies. And their stupid fucking troll laws are all weak, pathetic lies. Trolls don't actually win anything ever. Of course they don't. They're literally the biggest losers in existence. That's why they became trolls in the first place. They were such incomprehensibly unlikable people, they had to create anonymous online personas with made-up bullshit rules that make them winners no matter what.
I win.
But don't take it from me. Take it from them.
You may have seen that there's some sort of, conflict that's developed between liberal, likely paid off by the DNC, can't think of a better candidate in history than Kamala Harris, Democrat Austin Archer, and angry leftist lawyer, the woke bloke.
And you were so addicted to this fucking app that even a goddamn small time like me warrants this ridiculous motherfucking comment. Alright, Austin. Let's see how long it takes before you start fucking leaving a multi-part video about me.
He decided to make a 4-part series about a leftist creator who's got, a 10th of the followers that he does.
Austin Archer making a 4-part TikTok series about a creator who has a fraction of the following he has.
You've seen this movie before, right? Someone like me, a reasonably popular mid-tier content creator, takes the time to respond to a common troll, and the troll incredulously, emphatically, does a loud, obnoxious, troll-ass victory dance because they got me to notice them? Seriously, take a second and think about what these people are saying about themselves whenever they do this. Take a second to consider the actual self-reporting that is going on here. These trolls are saying in no uncertain terms that they secretly think of themselves as so pathetic and small and insignificant that it's a scathing, devastating insult to me if I simply notice that they exist.
That even a goddamn small time like me.
In their own words, I am so much higher above them in quality as a personality, as a commentator on the internet, as a human being, that it is a brutal defeat for me to simply get caught looking in their general direction. Again, I'm not saying this. They are.
Goddamn small time like me.
I see these people as people, incredibly low character, distasteful, dishonest, and unserious people, but people nonetheless. I don't see them as their follower number or by how much money I guess is in their bank account. I just see a person talking shit, and I simply don't see any legitimate reason why I shouldn't be allowed to respond in kind. But in their minds, in the psyche of the troll, I am like societal royalty or something. I live high above them in an opulent tower. I am so elevated above their lowly station that to simply become aware of their existence beneath the bridges far beyond my city walls is a stain on my reputation. They genuinely think of themselves as so small and pathetic and undeserving of acknowledgement that the only way they can feel important is to knock other people down by tricking us into looking at them. Can you even imagine thinking so little of yourself that you consider getting someone to notice you one of the greatest possible insults? A few years ago, I was playing frisbee golf in a park with a friend when my sister texted me to let me know that Brené Brown had shared one of my videos on social media. I excitedly went to go check to see if it was true, and sure enough, she had. Now, this happens from time to time doing what I do for work. Someone who I perceive to have higher social status or more material success than me has one of my videos fed to them by the algorithm, and they respond positively to it. Maybe they even share the video to their story or leave an encouraging comment. It's never occurred to me in one of these instances to think that it's pathetic that these people are noticing me. I'm putting my work out publicly, and anyone is allowed to look at it. Also, I'm not a troll, so I'm not hunting for negative attention by spreading misinformation or unfounded, unsolicited attacks. I'm deliberately trying to spread useful information and ideas that I believe to be true. So when a world-famous social psychologist like Brené Brown shares my work because she believes it has value, I find that very validating and cool. This is an experience that is entirely foreign to the troll. Trolls aren't seeking validation and attention by trying to be the best version of themselves or by sharing ideas that they believe are useful or true. Trolls don't believe they are even capable of doing those things. They think so little of themselves that they believe the only way they can get people of higher perceived social status to notice them is by being insufferable little dicklings. So-and-so is living rent-free in your head is one of the more common troll maxims, and all it means is LMAO, you are thinking about a person. That person got you to think about them. What they are quite literally saying is, you are too good of a person to be thinking about such a shitty person. You are too smart of a person to be thinking about such a stupid person. But here you are, thinking about them, which means maybe in some small way, you're not actually that great after all. But you never claimed to be this great, elevated person. They put that label on you. They compulsively project their own insecurities about themselves and their own lowly societal standing onto every interaction they ever have. They can't help it. Trolls are obsessed with perceived social status. They think everything comes down to how many people follow you, how much money you have in your bank account, random arbitrary stats, because again, they care way more about vibes than substance. They care about the appearance of winning more than they care about actually winning. And this is because they think the appearance of winning is all they could ever reasonably hope to achieve. And this is why even wildly successful people can still be fuck-ass trolls. Trolls can be worth billions of dollars. They can be people with a very impressive contacts list in their phone. They can own yachts and private jets, and they can even be the president of the fucking United States. But none of that changes the fact that they are still fundamentally losers on the inside. No matter what their perceived social status and power is, they can't escape how they see themselves. This is why guys like Elon Musk and Trump still try so hard to get noticed and to be talked about, instead of just fucking off and enjoying the spoils of victory, because they know that deep down they are still losers who don't matter for any good reasons. They only matter for bad ones. These are people who simply do not believe that they are capable of being relevant for doing the right thing. They don't know how to do the right thing. They don't know how to tell the truth or to use their power for good. It's also the reason why no amount of money or fame or recognition is ever enough for these people. They can't be satisfied with any of it because at the end of the day, they are fundamentally dissatisfied with themselves. They lack self-respect and dignity. They've deprived themselves of those things intentionally in the ceaseless search for external validation. Instead of managing to get noticed as a byproduct of doing esteemable acts and building a strong inner sense of self-worth, they built their empires on forcing their way into the 24-hour news cycle through decades of impropriety, misinformation, and blatant dumbassery. And this isn't some grand revelation that I'm just coming up with now for the first time. This isn't a secret truth that I'm uncovering. This is something that is talked about openly regularly in modern culture. How often have you watched Donald Trump do something completely insane, like posting an AI video of him dumping shit on the heads of protesters from a fighter jet, or threatening to eradicate an entire civilization? Things that are just completely indefensibly awful, only to have his most devoted followers say, he was just trolling. No, you see, it's fine that he did that because he was trolling. The most powerful man in the world was just trolling, you see, and that's a good use of his institutional power and notoriety. It's a good thing that the commander-in-chief of the world's most aggressive military force is a silly little troll. It's cool and good that he does that because it makes you mad. The fact that you're mad about it proves that the trolling is worthwhile and cool. This is why I say that in order to understand why I did all of this, we need to first understand the psychology of why the woke bloke does the things he does, why he is the way he is. Because while it remains my official position that I don't know why the woke bloke is the way he is or does the things he does, it is my opinion that he is this way because he is nothing more than a common fuck-ass troll. And the reason I'm doing this deep dive dissection is because far too many people don't seem to be able to identify trolls when they see them. Far too many people don't seem to be able to identify bad faith liars when they see them. Far too many people fall victim to the vibes over substance grift. They get caught up in the superficial numbers and insignificant details. Austin Archer, a creator with a big number of followers, is mad at the woke bloke, a creator with a smaller number of followers. How pathetic. But that's where the critical thinking stops. No investigation into the actual details of the disagreement, no care paid to the substance of the interaction. There are, of course, other theories about who the woke bloke might be and why he might do some of the things he does. A lot of people in my audience were becoming increasingly convinced that he's a Fed and a psyop meant to deliberately cause chaos and disrupt online leftist spaces to benefit the right. Not gonna lie, this theory would make his behavior make the most sense. It would at least provide a coherent logic to his actions, because everything the woke bloke does directly benefits the right politically while helping to destabilize the left at the same time. So it would make sense if that was his explicit goal. But I don't like the PSYOP theory because it's a little too tinfoil hatty for my taste, and also it gives the right too much credit. It paints them as expert 5D chess players who are pulling the strings on impressionable left-leaning minds without anyone noticing. I prefer to think of these people as less capable than that, less intelligent, less competent. I think they do what they do because they're losers who don't believe they are capable of doing any better. I challenged the woke bloke to a public debate because I knew there was like a 0.01% chance he would actually accept. And the reason I didn't expect him to accept is because he knows there's nothing in it for him. He's not actually interested in spreading good, factual, true information. He's not interested in being given a platform to make solid, substantive arguments that support his worldview and refute mine. A debate would only serve to expose him as an incompetent and unserious fraud. I always knew it was going to end exactly like this. Someone in my Patreon community sent me a video from the woke bloke yesterday, and this is what I see now when I try to view his content on any platform. I'm blocked. Now, setting aside the fact that the woke bloke's audience is full of goofy trolls who believe that blocking someone is one of the classic ways to admit defeat. If I had blocked the woke bloke, they all would have been celebrating, saying, Austin Archer is running in fear. Austin Archer is rage quitting and conceding the debate. This is closure. This is finality. There will be no public debate between the woke bloke and myself, not because I was unwilling to go through with it, not because I was unwilling to meet any demands or terms, but because the woke bloke, of course, never had any intention of actually meeting me in a good faith public exchange of ideas. So just to recap the order of events, to make it absolutely clear what happened, and you can go back through and watch the video series and verify for yourself and make sure that I'm representing everything accurately. I was minding my own business, blissfully unaware of the woke bloke's existence, when I received the following DM informing me that there was this person named the woke bloke who was making videos about me. Pause to read. The woke bloke hurled several ad hominem personal attacks about my physical appearance. It was clear he was trying to get my attention. He said I look like a guy who's auditioning for Pee-wee's Playhouse. He said I look frumpy. He said I look like I should be working at medieval times. But most importantly, he made a bunch of unfounded claims about my character and about my platform. He pushed the conspiracy theory that I am a paid liberal shill for the DNC, that I am paid monthly by multiple dark money organizations. He called me a grifty little bitch who lies to his audience for attention. He didn't substantiate these claims with any evidence whatsoever. At no point in our back and forth did he ever address any of my arguments or make any substantive counter arguments of his own. He just vibe posted about how pathetic it was that I was even noticing him. The reason I took the time to respond is because I noticed that even though his audience is relatively small, they are fierce and loyal and loud. There's weirdly a lot of crossover between our two audiences, and a lot of people who take me seriously and enjoy my content were also taking him seriously, and they were confused as to which one of us they should trust. Anyway, I ended my video series on him by challenging him to a public debate, something I've never done before. I don't do debate content, but the whole reason why I was making this video series, the whole reason why I was engaging in the first place, was to expose the woke bloke and people like him as bad faith, unserious, untrustworthy interlocutors and bad sources of information. And I felt like a public debate with publicly known terms in front of a live audience with a professional moderator would be a good forum to expose him in a setting where he can't so easily control the elements and lie. I sent my very simple and reasonable conditions to the woke bloke via my public videos that we know he watched because he responded to them directly. He responds with these terms. Sure, I'll debate Austin Archer, but he has to pay this guy $1,000. This guy he said he would pay $1,000 like 4 years ago, he's got to pay him. He makes it seem like he's making a reasonable demand. A few years ago, Austin said that he would pay this guy $1,000. He welched. He's got to make good on that bet before I'll meet him in a debate. The problem is he doesn't tell his audience who the guy is. So I tell his audience who the guy is. It's Jeff Mead, a very well-known far right-wing Nazi propagandist. And I say, obviously, as a leftist, I am never going to pay a well-known Nazi propagandist $1,000. That is an unreasonable condition for us to meet in a debate, but the woke bloke knows that. He's doing it on purpose. He's lying. He's setting up conditions that sound reasonable when you don't think about them for too long, but if you actually think about them and actually look into them, they're entirely unreasonable and impossible. He responds and says, my bad, I didn't know who Jeff Mead was. I didn't know that he was a far-right MAGA nutjob and Nazi propagandist, which is yet another obvious and flagrant lie. And then he says, okay, fine, I'll still go through with the debate, but Austin has to send me his terms through an intermediary because I refuse to correspond with him directly. Another condition that sounds reasonable before you examine it further, but two massive problems. One, I've already sent my terms via my public videos that we know he watched because he's directly responding to them. And two, how am I supposed to correspond with him exclusively through an intermediary? Who is this intermediary? How do I establish that this intermediary is in fact a legitimate representative of me? Do you see, friends? He's employing semi-clever wordplay to make it seem like he's setting up reasonable conditions, but when you actually think about those conditions, they're impossible and they make no sense. And that's the last video either one of us made as far as I know. He gets to have the last word and say, hey, I told Austin I was willing to debate him. I was willing to accept his challenge. I offered him my terms, and then I just never heard from him again. Meanwhile, he quietly does this. He makes it so that I no longer can contact him in any way. He lets his audience believe that he is patiently waiting for my intermediary to reach out with my terms. Terms that he knows I have already set in my public videos. Terms we know he saw in those videos. He lets his audience believe that he is ready and willing to meet me in the debate arena while secretly, quietly, he cuts off all chance at us corresponding to make that a reality.
So, yeah, he blocked me. Immediately after I posted that video, people in his comments started asking him why he blocked me, so he released this video.
When I first started out as an attorney, I did a lot of restraining order cases, so I know the type and their tactics. And as you can imagine, an election-denying conspiracy theorist fits the mold as someone who floods the zone with demands for your attention. Yet I agreed to debate this person because I wanted to tell his audience the truth about the 2024 election, ending my last video with a request for his terms that he wanted to negotiate. Terms that he wanted to negotiate before he published them on his page. But I received none, either through someone else as I requested or from him. Just this creepy little DM that reads like something Tim Pool would send Emma Vigeland. Because it turns out he doesn't want to debate that badly, because if he did, he would have sent his terms, either through someone else or through himself. Instead, what he wanted was my attention. Well, he got the last of what he's going to get, because after he sent nothing, I blocked his ass.
Sorry, just gotta jump in here one last time. The video is very close to ending, I promise, but I just gotta jump in here one last time to make my case extra clear. It is genuinely so fucking insane the way this person chooses to frame every video after I initially began to respond to him. After he made 2 videos before I knew who he was, every video after that point is him going like, so Austin Archer won't stop making videos about me. He's crashing out. And this framing was working on his audience. They loved it. They were just eating it up. They were all like, he's crashing out. Oh my God. He's making so many videos. Friends, I can't stress this enough. By the time the woke bloke blocked me, the tally was 6-6. I made 6 videos, he made 6 videos. That's a lot of videos. 6 is a lot, I admit that. But we each made 6. He made just as many as me. Mine were longer because I was actually taking the time to say something worth saying. It's just so stupid. And then this framing that like, he didn't actually want to debate. He just wanted my attention. What the fuck are you talking about? What The fuck are you talking about? I didn't want to debate. That's why I challenged you to a debate. You did want to debate. That's why you blocked me. What the fuck are we? I wanted your attention. I didn't know who this person was before he made 2 videos about me that launched this whole thing. But I wanted his attention. Guys, I didn't want his attention. What I want is a time machine so I can go back in time and kill whoever sent me this DM before they hit send.
I blocked his ass.
You get what's going on there, right? He's pretending that coming clean about blocking me was his idea. He's pretending like he wasn't outed by me and then forced to play catch up. He's doing that because he's a liar. Remember from all the lies that he told?
I blocked his ass.
Basically what I'm saying with this big, overly long video is, if you're still watching, I want you to be more discerning about who you follow. If you find someone to be a worthwhile source of information, if they say things that feel logically sound or valid to you, just take a moment to actually examine what they're saying. Are they backing it up with sources and data? Are they bringing receipts, or just selling you a line off of vibes and unearned confidence? When they're called out, can they formulate a substantive refutation and defense of their positions, or do they immediately resort to weasel behavior and try to dishonestly squirm out of accountability?
I blocked his ass.
Do you like who you like because they are honest people who do their best to tell the truth? Or do you like them because they're scratching some itch you may or may not even know you have? Maybe you like seeing the losers get one over on the perceived winners of life. Maybe you like seeing people get mad at misinformation. Maybe some lonely, unhealed part of you just resonates with that kind of thing for whatever reason. I think we need to be really careful about who we give our attention to. What's crazy is, as I sit here making this video, I know it's most likely going to do poorly. I know it's only going to be seen by a few thousand people. I know the algorithm is not going to put this on many feeds. If I'm being completely honest, this all feels kind of like an exercise in futility. It all feels like a fight I've already lost. But that's also why I figured, fuck it. If being long-winded and getting bothered by trolls turns people off, who cares? I'm not trying to get approval off of vibes. I'm simply trying to communicate something true. And whoever happens to see it is none of my business. I have no control over that. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I just sort of felt compulsively compelled to put this out there so I could move on or something. I don't know. I think I'm finally done with this topic, at least, you know, until I'm not. But for now, yeah, I'm pretty tired of it. So, all right. Fuck Jeff Mead and fuck whoever this guy is. If you're a troll, then you messed up now. Yeah. Just scroll, troll. If you're a troll, just scroll. That stuff you're saying's just a bunch of bull. This is a troll-free zone, so take a hike. Okay, thanks for watching the video. Patreon.com/Austin Archer. If you want to support the work that I do here, that's linked in the description. Memberships start at just $1. It's $1. $1 a month. $10 buys you a whole year. Tons of exclusive content, extended content. All of my content goes there first, so you get early content. It's everything that I do goes there with no algorithmic interference. If you like what I do, if you find it valuable, then that's the best place to get the most bang for your one single buck every month, an amount that you shouldn't even really notice. Yeah, austinarchermusic.bandcamp.com. I make music. You can go check that out. That's also linked in the description. That's another great way to support the channel and also support indie music and support indie art. Because I'm not a big fancy lawyer. I don't have a lawyer's salary. That's the other thing, is this guy probably makes more money than me. Like, literally, probably does. And it's pathetic of me to notice him because I have more followers on social media. Who the fuck cares if I can't pay my bills, right? Check out the music, check out the Patreon, subscribe to the channel at the very least, right? Just scroll, troll. If you're a troll, just scroll. That stuff you're saying's just a bunch of bull. This is a troll-free zone.